Everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bogz.
The season 3 finale of The Mandalorian has arrived. Bogz watched it a little bit ago, a little earlier today when we're taping this. I just literally got done watching it. We'll give our thoughts on the episode. We'll give our thoughts on season 3 overall. I'll go ahead and go first. Like, season 3 will not go down as my favorite season of The Mandalorian. This will not go down as as the strongest finale of 3 seasons so far. That being said, I did really enjoy season 3, and I did really enjoy this finale. Yeah, I got nitpicks here and there, but for the most part, I had a very good time. I really enjoyed Rick Famuyiwa's handling of the last 2 episodes of this season, and we know this isn't the end. Jon Favreau has said this is not the end, but I am now kind of curious, like, where the hell do we go from here? Bogz, what about you? How'd you feel about the season, and how'd you feel about the finale?
Finale, it was good. It did feel like a mid-season or like an earlier season episode. The last 2 episodes were the best 2 of the season, I feel. I did like the first couple of episodes, but really I just feel like I didn't get a lot of payoffs from the action was good. Some of the, CG was good. The taking of Mandalore, liked all that. But the story was so lame and lackluster and didn't get many payoffs. I have so many questions that they've built up throughout the season. And also, the fact, the season as a whole, I think this dropped way downhill from season 2. Season 1, I really liked. Season 2, Mike, is one of my favorite series of television of all time. Like, that's how much I liked it. I cried in more than one episode watching The Mandalorian season 2. Obviously the Luke episode that speaks for itself, but the Ahsoka episode when they brought her back and she's sitting with Grogu and it has Yoda's theme from Empire and it's Ahsoka and Grogu and like I cried. It means that much to me. And getting what we got in this season, we've dropped way down. The viewing figures are down, the interest is down, and I'm not surprised at all. The story was completely underwhelming. Yes, there are cool parts in the episode and in the season, but overall, there's some actual bad episodes this season. And I'd put it on par with some other shows that I absolutely didn't like, such as the Book of Boba Fett. Like, I might even, the Book of Boba Fett might have been better than Mando season 3. Like, and I'm gutted. Like I said, season 2 was better. Was one of the best series of television I've ever seen. That's the most I've been invested in years in TV, and I'm just so underwhelmed. I'm really disappointed, to be honest. But it wasn't a bad episode. But yeah, I've got so many issues with this season.
It definitely, I think this season was a big, it's kind of like The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Like, The Dark Knight as a movie was this kind of like pinnacle, like comic book movie for the time. And then it's like, how the hell do you follow that? Like, anything you do after that is going to feel lesser by comparison. And when you had, like you said, season 2 of The Mandalorian was like, it was mind-blowing. Like, it was life-changing Star Wars television, hands down, from episode 1 to the finale with the final scene of Luke. I mean, like, I would put season 2 of The Mandalorian up against most seasons of television like out there. And so having to follow that up after the Book of Boba Fett, which was a mixed bag at best. I mean, the best episodes of Book of Boba Fett were the ones with
for sure.
Grogu and Luke and Ahsoka. To try and follow that up is a tall order. And there are a lot of moments in this season where I was like, I'm enjoying this. This isn't where I thought we were going. I'm wondering how much of this was the original plan and how much of this was like, I have a sneaking suspicion we weren't supposed to get Grogu back. And I think Disney may have stepped in and said, no, that's our cash cow. Like, find a way to bring him back. Which I think is kind of what led to certain things happening with the Book of Boba Fett. Like I said, I really did enjoy this season for the most part, but it was like this is one of those seasons where like if I go back and do a rewatch, there are episodes I'm gonna skip. Um, are the episode that took place on Coruscant following the two
Dr. Pershing
Doctor Pershing and the spy, I'm just gonna call her,
mm,
um, was a neat episode, but ultimately I think was just too we spent too much time on that when you consider what the actual payoff on that ended up being. And I know
mm.
episode 6 was really divisive for people with Lizzo and Jack Black and Christopher Lloyd. I I liked it for what it was as just a fun like buddy cop episode. I think it should have come way earlier in the season, but also like now having seen the completed season, I'm like, yeah, no, this contributed nothing like to the overall season. So that's probably going to be another skipped one. I have same problems with other like their Daredevil season 2. I like there's like half that season I tend to skip because once you get to the Elektra stuff, it's just not interesting anymore. So there were a couple times with this season I felt like they were a little too focused on building out like the galaxy building of like the other stuff they're trying to do with Star Wars television. A little too focused on that and not enough on just like what made the show the strongest was when it was kind of a more focused, narrow viewed show on just kind of like a singular plot and story. Um, that being said, I did enjoy it. It definitely is of the 3 seasons my least favorite, but I had a good time with it overall. And I did enjoy this finale. I will say, like they stepped up a lot of things this season in terms of cinematography and music. Those are the two things I noticed absolutely improved with this season. There were so many great like POV shots and the use of practical effects. And they brought in a different composer for this season who did some really creative things with the theme, the kind of pirate tone theme we had in the pirate episode, which was good stuff. A lot of things I think to really still be excited and proud with this season. But I am kind of left wondering, like, cool. Now what?
Definitely. And where, like, why? What is bringing you in to watch season 4? Like,
Right now,
there's
it's a great question.
it tied up the story pretty much. Like, okay, we're
Yeah.
kind of back on. They've got themselves back on Mandalore, the Mandalorians, and Din Djarin is a bounty hunter with Grogu again. That's kind of gone back to like mid season 1, and that's it, right? The villain
Yeah.
came in on really episode 7 out of 8 episodes.
Mhm.
There was almost no character development for Grogu this season, which that was, that's the kind of, if you will, the cultural phenomenon that made Mandalorian one of the biggest shows in the world, and he's almost put to the side in in this season. By the end of this episode, I was thinking, is there any point of Grogu being in season 4? Like, what do you know what I mean? Is he going to train in the Force anymore? Is he looking to be a Jedi? He seems to be looking to be more like Mandalorian, but he's not on Mandalore now. Like, okay, are they just going to be bounties again? So all these things, what happened with the Mythosaur? Um, that was okay, cool. The Mythosaur's got a brown
Yeah,
eye. Okay, sure. Like, she even brought it up to the armorer. Like, they didn't bring it up in the finale.
that was
Taken
bummed.
like,
That bummed
where
me
is that? So yeah, Din Djarin got moved to the side as well a lot of this season for obviously the Mandalore story and Bo-Katan and stuff like that. So there's just so many questions I have, but like, why did you make these choices? Like, you summarized season 2 there, Mike, and season 2, it literally gave me hope as a Star Wars fan. This is the gold standard show that they have. There's I don't like any of the sequel movies. There's a lot of the shows that let me down this year. Um, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Andor. I didn't like any of them shows. Mandalorian was the gold standard of that show. It made me cry like several episodes. And now, what season 3 the story is I can't believe how much they've dropped. Bringing in Ahsoka, mentioning Thrawn constantly, and having Luke in, and Grogu, and having flashbacks of Order 66. Like, these were things like the possibilities of Rebels storylines and characters coming in, and it literally made you excitement. It bring in things from Legends. Season 3 has like moved so far away from that, and the story just isn't gripping people, and I think it's losing interest. And the 2 episodes in, like you said, Book of Boba Fett, I think are better than anything we got in season 3. and with the marketing that they had and the big push that they've done, I even saw a lot of interviews and stuff talking about the finale, so must watch. And obviously they're going to sell it, but I think they've oversold it a little bit. Like, yeah, so I'm a bit unsatisfied, but like I said, there were definitely some fun moments in the episode. But even the way like Moff Gideon died, he just like
Oh, he's
exploded
not
like
dead.
it was.
He's not
It was
dead.
like it was like a cheesy '90s death, like
He's not
with a
dead.
big explosion. And
I didn't see a body. He's not dead. There's no
well,
way.
yeah, like his fight with Din Djarin was in season 2
Mm.
was way more compelling than this battle here. And yeah, the Praetorian Guards were they're supposed to be these amazingly skilled guys, and I was just so underwhelmed. And yeah, there was so many disappointing things in this season as a whole. But
Do you
um,
think your dislike of the Praetorian Guards might be influenced a little bit by your absolute loathing of the Last Jedi?
no, not really. Like,
I mean,
if
it's
they
cool that it is. I mean, I get it. Mm.
no, I mean, if like I did roll my eyes when they came in.
Yeah,
When I first heard the mention of going to have 3 Praetorian Guards, and then they came in, because they're still supposed to be proficient and
yeah.
awesome, and I want to see that. I still want to see a cool, interesting character, or like action scenes, and just that like the chasing Grogu around that circle thing. Okay, I was like, all right, cool, and
I did giggle.
yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is, Mike, we should demand better from Star Wars. We should
Yeah,
demand better as Star Wars fans. It should be the biggest money maker in the world from anything in pop culture, and in the minute it's not, and it's actually losing money, it's losing interest because the storylines are not compelling enough. Um, and yeah, and it's upsetting. I went to Star Wars Celebration, and I had a great time there, but I had I have so many issues with Star Wars at the minute. Um, but yeah, anyway, I'm disappointed with season 3 if I haven't made it clear enough.
well, I know you're not alone, and I hear people's criticisms of this season and of certain episodes and all that all the time, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and tell people like if it didn't work for you, it didn't work for you. Obviously, there are certain things people want and expect out of Star Wars, and you're right. We see that a lot with like our comic book movies too, where like we hit a certain level with the quality of them, and so then it kind of becomes this thing of like when it doesn't hit that level again, it's like we have higher expectations because you've given us higher expectations. And I do definitely agree. It's like I did expect more from this season. There were things that I feel like were set up earlier on in the season that did not pay off, like the Mythosaur thing. I was kind of bummed out that at no point did we get to see Bo-Katan riding a Mythosaur
Mm,
when that was kind of such a big deal. There were certain things I really thought were going to come back or come into play that never did. Um, Now, again, we know this is not the last season, and sure they might come back later, but it kind of makes me go, well, then why'd you set them up? Why set them up so long ago? That would be like setting up something in episode 1 that doesn't pay off until episode 9. Like that, that's too far. It feels like too long of a wait for what we got. When we got to watch Boba Fett ride a Rancor in the Book of Boba Fett, which is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in Star Wars, hands down, regardless of how you feel about the show. So I do hear you, like yeah, we should expect more because we've had more. So that's what. So like season 3, again, not my favorite. There were definitely things like again setting up the Mythosaur thing. Uh, Episode 6 kind of while I thought it was fun and enjoyed it for what it was, it didn't really contribute to anything really. There were things that it felt like they were setting up for that ultimately didn't go anywhere. So that was definitely a letdown for me. Like I said, I will go back and rewatch The Mandalorian beginning because like you do with any show you love. When I get to season 3, I'm probably going to do a little bit more skipping around, couple episodes, couple things here and there where I'm like, I don't need it. I just don't need it. But focusing on the finale specifically, I thought where this episode really shined is I thought the action was some of the best. We got to watch a bunch of Mandos fighting with jetpacks in the air, shooting rockets, swinging dark sabers and hammers, and um, Grogu doing a power slide force push. Like Grogu got to hold his own in a fight. Grogu got to kind of show that like he's not just a cute little stuffed animal who needs rescued all the time. He can pull. He's getting to a point where he can start to pull his own weight. And I thought that that in and of itself, like as an action set piece of a finale episode, the fight to retake Mandalore, I thought that is where this finale really succeeded the most. As far as overall plot and story conclusion, left a little to be desired. But as someone who enjoys the fun action set pieces that typically come with a Star Wars movie or a show, I thought that's where they shined the most in this and the last episode.
Yeah, the taking of Mandalore, that was definitely the most fun parts of the episode. A couple of the shots that I think even right at the beginning where they had the Alex Wolf character, and it's got like a close up of his helmet as he's like flying with his jetpack, and you can see the rain and the elements and things like that. Yeah, that's really good. They did it a few times. Bo-Katan with the dark saber and the armorer and stuff like that. Yeah, that looks super cool. But even with that, Mike, the whole battle aesthetically looks good. It was so easy though for the Mandalorians. They just had success after success after. They just kept they just kept moving forward, and they got support, and they just like I just found the whole taking of Mandalore so easy for the Mandalorians. Like no one got killed. You think in a season finale, a big character maybe would in taking over a planet would die. I know is it Paz Vizsla died in the previous episode, but that's kind of one character. I mean, we've got several others that just it just went too smoothly for them, and the whole thing with the clones with Moff Gideon, like almost okay, like it was there, and then okay, let's press a few buttons, and then it explodes, and then like why did he open his eyes when Grogu looked at I don't know. I was just like a bit okay. So that's what all this whole cloning thing was. Okay, I've got to make loads of clones to try and get use the Force. Like one of them's going to use the Force. Okay, and then it blew up, and then I don't know. So and he didn't come stop him. Like he waited to walk in through the door, and then he came in. Like I was like, what's going on? And a lot of questions there. But the battles were cool, particularly in the aerial stuff. Battling the troopers and the ship and stuff. And honestly, the more I think about the episode, the more frustrated I'm getting with it. Like even with the whole Alex Wolf thing, when he's like driving the ship solo, I'm just gonna crash it into the base. Is that the character's name? The character that
Axe.
Axe.
Alex Wolf is the actor who was in like Hereditary. He's the young man.
Oh no, I thought it's something Wolf, right? I don't know.
It's Axe Wolf. His name's Axe Wolf. Axe Wolf or something like that, which is a badass name.
Right.
But I was like, Alex Wolf was in the show. Where?
I saw him as well at Star Wars Celebration. Like multiple times I walked past him. Yeah. But he's telling everyone to go. I thought he was going to be like a spy for the Empire. When he's sending everyone away, saying Bo-Katan needs your help. Okay. And then he just drives the ship solo. He's getting fired on. I'm just going to crash it into the base, just like by myself, and that'll kill Moff Gideon. I don't know. I just felt like I didn't feel the stakes were there. This, the taking of Mandalore, and it just got to a point where the R5 stuff, which I like R5, it's connected to the original trilogy and stuff. The R5 stuff when he's kind of sneaking in and trying to get the plans for Din Djarin so he can locate Moff Gideon. That stuff took like a good 2 minutes. And I was looking at the time thinking, this is a 38-minute episode. And we're spending 2 minutes on R5 trying to scare away mouse droids. I knew there was something up with this episode from that. I was like, this is not a good sign. Like we've got too many things to tie up, and we're spending too much time here with R5 and these mouse droids, because they went back to it like 3 times. So I just had an inkling from there that I was not going to be happy with this episode.
it kind of reminded me of when you look at episode 4, when you look at A New Hope, when they're trying to escape the garbage compactor, and R2 and 3PO have to go hide in a closet, um, as kind of a plot device to build the tension of the walls closing. It kind of felt like that. They were using it again as a similar plot device of this will delay the shields coming down, so Din is forced to fight longer. But it just kind of felt like the same kind of plot device for me as that. So it didn't really bother me that much, because I was like, yeah, no, this is kind of what happens with the R2 units. They try to hack stuff, and then something happens, they get delayed, and the heroes are in danger a little bit longer.
Hmm.
Uh,
In,
also,
in the finale, um, I just think I just think we had time for it. Like I just wanted a more interesting episode, and things like that. Things like that are scattered in this season, which I've not really seen like this mellow stuff in other seasons, especially in like a finale. So that was my point anyway. But sorry, carry on.
I get it. I hear you. Like I said, I hear your criticisms and your frustrations. I hear other people's, and like I'm not gonna sit here and say like you're wrong. Like I think for me, it just didn't bother me as much as other things did with this season or other seasons. Ultimately, when I look back on the 8 episodes we had, yeah, I have my frustrations and my criticisms, but ultimately I had a good time with this season. We've had a kind of a blessed year with a lot of very like heavy, intense story with things like House of the Dragon, or The Last of Us, stuff that was had a lot of weight and was very serious. And if I think for me, it was almost like this season was more fun than focused, and I think I almost kind of needed that. Like I needed something that I could just have fun with. And while season 2 was more of the focused, serious season, this season almost felt like kind of like a palate cleanser, as it were, of like now we can just kind of have some more fun with these characters, with this world, build it out a bit more, and just because Star Wars at the end of the day is fun. It's spaceships and space wizards and explosions and fantasy and adventure. It's the samurai story meets the knight in shining armor in space, and having fun with that was actually for me was kind of refreshing.
Yeah. I mean, great. That's great that you find a lot of fun in it. I do too, but like there's that elements in every series that they put out for me in Book of Boba Fett, in Obi-Wan, in Andor. Like I get them things in that, but the Mandalorian is I put it on a pedestal, being their flagship show, on the Disney Plus flagship show, and what we got after waiting 2 years, from the last series. I think again in hindsight that was a little too long from season 2. I mean,
Yeah, I had to think
that
about. I do the math. Like, yeah, it has been 2 years. Yeah, it was
well, the Book of
2021.
Boba Fett came a year ago,
It
so
did. Yeah.
obviously we got a
It,
couple episodes there. But since yeah, so the wait and then what we got from that, it just leaves me to think, what were we waiting so long for?
mm,
Just story wise, it just didn't meet anywhere near the levels that they did in season 2. Yeah, there's some fun elements there, but I want more. I demand more from Star Wars, and because I can watch other shows for just fun things, and now there as well from this. I think Filoni and Favreau, when I see their names attached to projects, I feel like I'm safe and like they can't miss. Now I see evidently they can miss. So whether that's from them or whether that's other reasons, as you've addressed before, maybe this wasn't the intended idea for a show. Is it something to do with Kathleen Kennedy? Is it a Disney Plus thing? Is it something else? Who knows? But because also at Star Wars Celebration, I was hoping that they would announce a season 4 of Mandalorian. So because they announced the movie that would tie in all these series, Ahsoka,
yeah.
Mandalorian, and Skeleton Crew, and all that together, which is coming in a few years. There was no
That's gonna be a
mention.
while.
Exactly. There was no mention of a season 4 or when that will be. So it does look like we're going to get a season 4, but I was expecting that they would make some kind of announcements. Even the no post credit scene. There was no post credit scene in any episode. Do you remember the season 2 post credit scene? I mean
It
that
was
was
the
just like
teaser
a
for Book
cherry
of
on a
Boba
cake.
Fett. Yeah.
Exactly. This thing, I was even hoping for something like Thrawn, just him. What, I don't know, just anything, even like a comedic thing. But I don't know. I just
Well, and
multiple levels, Mike.
I also remember
Underwhelmed.
the Book of Boba Fett tease from Mando season 2 got kind of a mixed reaction because they ended up having to come out like a week later and make because people at first thought like it was going to be the next season of Book of Boba Fett or the next
Mm,
season of Mandalorian, so they had to do some damage control with that. So I think for them it was more of a let's just plus I don't think there was a reason to put necessarily a post credit scene on it because like I said we literally just had Star Wars Celebration, we know what's coming next. So I think the reason there wasn't maybe as like a big season 4 is coming is because we've got enough other stuff to talk about and announce. We know a season 4 is coming. Let's do a big formal announcement when we have something to say about it. Plus you also have to remember, Kathleen Kennedy got in hot water with the higher ups at Disney last year when she was announcing a different series every other day. And finally, it was either Bob Iger or Bob Chapek, whichever one was in charge at the time, had to basically come out and say, "Hey, Kathleen, shut up! Stop announcing a different show." Because remember, 3 years ago, she announced a whole slate of Star Wars
yeah,
shows,
yeah.
most of
Agreed.
which have been axed, are not
Correct. Yeah.
happening.
Hmm.
So it was probably one of those like we will say something, kind of like James Gunn with his DC slate. We'll say something when we have something to say. Just saying this thing is coming isn't enough. We know it's coming. John Favreau has said it's coming. They've said we've got like a 5 season plan for this show. We know it's coming. We'll make a big grand statement when we have something to say.
I just don't like the way it's left up in the air. So we know a movie is coming at the end in a few years
Yeah.
to summarize the Filoniverse, basically, right?
Yeah.
But okay, what's next for the flagship show on Disney Plus for the Mandalorian and Grogu? What is next? We don't know. There might be an Ahsoka. There might be a Skeleton Crew. We might get a season 4. And I just don't like the open endedness of it. Or the because you can like the way it finished with like the definitiveness of like, okay, the story's tied up now, kind
Yeah.
of like story's tied up now. Like for me, like there's something. It's just not, with no season 4 announcement, no post credit scene. I'm just left a bit underwhelmed. Um, I just don't like the way they finished season 3 compared to last season. For reasons like that. Yeah.
Well, there's still a lot of time, anything, now that it's aired today, who knows what could happen over the course of the next week. You know, a lot of times they don't want to get out too far ahead of themselves and say, okay, boom, season 4 is coming now when maybe more people feel like you do and the viewership tanks and Disney says, no, you know what, we're not doing a season 4 because season 3 underperformed so drastically. You don't want to, again, they want to get out of the business of announcing things that don't happen. They don't want to, they don't want to be caught with their pants down again. Because again, there's a lot of Star Wars content that was announced that is now not happening. So I think for them, the smart move is we'll announce it when we know for a fact it's happening. When we've put pen to paper and contracts have been signed and money has started being moved around, then we can announce it. Because again, like the last thing they need is egg on their face again, especially when it comes to Star Wars, because it is still a very divided fan base, and the sequel trilogy did not do for them what they were counting on. So they've, even with as well received as the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian were, Book of Boba Fett was mixed, Obi-Wan was mixed. this season's been mixed to positive. It's been better received than those other two shows, but a lot of people feel like you do. So to me, I think it just makes marketing sense and business sense. It makes sense to say, let's hold off on officially announcing until paperwork has been signed.
Yeah, and also, there has been like behind the scenes issues with Pedro Pascal, whether because he didn't take his helmet off this episode because
Oh, yeah.
like a while ago, a year ago, you probably remember, like I believe there was like big rumors about him having contract negotiation issues when Gina Carano left, and because he wanted, because he got, I believe he got time to film The Last of Us, and
Yeah.
on the back of that, he wanted to show his face more, but that's against what what the story
Yeah,
is.
that's
So
the purpose. Yeah.
yeah, so now like he's just basically a voice actor in the show. So
Which is
I
why
think
they
there was
made a big
some.
point of crediting his body doubles this season, of saying like yes, like Pedro's the voice, but
Hmm,
these guys are the ones wearing the suit most of the time, which I think
right.
was actually good because it gives credit to the guys who were kind of doing the heavy physical acting in the show. To
Yeah.
your point.
But yeah, it's just another thing to cloud the show. Um, but there are definitely things I'm looking forward to moving forward. Ahsoka is coming in August. We've obviously got Jedi Survivor. We've got the Visions. I think it's coming. I forgot
That's
what
May
month. I think
4th,
May.
Star
Yeah,
Wars Day. Star Wars
exactly.
Day
Yeah.
is when it
So
drops.
lots of cool things coming. Um, so yeah, I'll never give up or like, but purely on the satisfaction season 2 gave me. I won't give up on the Mandalorian, and
Well, it's
I'll
Star
always
Wars.
look forward to watching it. Um, yeah, I'll always look forward to watching it. But yes, massively underwhelmed. I can't lie. I could lie and say, oh yeah, it was really positive, and I love Grogu, and I loved Din, and Bo-Katan was great, and watching all the action stuff was amazing, and you know, but I have to be honest, it's I'm underwhelmed, and like for me, it's obvious why the viewership is down. It's obvious. I can list off 10 reasons why the viewership is down. Like I think because they haven't announced the viewing figures for the second half of the season, because obviously that'll come out later. But like the
Yeah.
first like episode was down, I think like 27% from season 2, the first episode. So that we're talking about millions of watch hours. So that is big numbers, right? So, and I know why. I think the single main reason is the story isn't anywhere near compelling enough as a you know as a as an average viewer watching it. I know people who have never seen Star Wars, absolutely hooked on season 1 and 2, that are not watching season 3. They just have no interest in it because of the story. But yeah, I don't know. They chose to go down this route. Don't know why. Um, I
It
won't be
happens
in a rush watching it back, to be honest. I'm just
it
saying.
happens with TV shows sometimes where you'll have one season not as good as the others, and then it comes back. We see, you see it happen with
Yeah,
TV
some don't
all the
have bad seasons. Oh, yeah,
time. It
totally.
happens.
I
There's
totally
season
accept that. Yeah.
for the longest time, I was big into the Arrowverse on CW, and like I can look at Arrow and be like, okay, season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, and you can see certain, or if you're a fan of a show like Friends or The Simpsons or any, The Wire, The West Wing, whatever. Yeah, sometimes it just happens. Steven Spielberg's
Definitely
one of
true.
the greatest
True.
directors of all time. Spielberg's movies sometimes, like sometimes you get a Bridge of Spies, sometimes you get a Saving Private Ryan or a West Side Story. Like it happens.
Yeah,
So you just
absolutely.
you take the swings when you can, and The Mandalorian has built up enough goodwill with me, especially with season 2, that even if season 3 is not my favorite, if I have more problems with season 3 than I did with seasons 1 and 2, I'm still here for season 4. If they announce it tomorrow, I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. I'm not canceling my Disney Plus subscription anytime soon. It's fine. Cool. I'll watch it. I'll watch. Again, Filoni and Favreau in particular have earned enough goodwill with me that, yeah, if they put something out, I'm going to watch it. Whether or not I like it's a different story, but I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on board. I'm still on board. I'm not totally giving up hope. But like I said, there are definitely projects I'm looking forward to. But yeah, like now, because with Marvel, I'm ultra careful now.
Mhm.
Post what post Endgame, let's say, I'm really careful with what I'm watching because I don't want to waste my time, basically. Um, and I'm borderline with Star Wars now. Borderline, like it is going to, I'm definitely on the side of watching it, whatever they put out, but they're pushing it. They're pushing it really with the amount of hours I spend watching these shows, and I'm not getting. It's not at the quality that I expect or I demand as a Star Wars fan. And it's not even okay. Some of them are way short, and and it hurts, and I don't like going through that. But that's just me. I'm not talking. I'm not who am I? It's just my stupid opinion. But um, yeah, I mean, I was
That's
in
what we're
love
here
with
to do,
season
is share
two,
our stupid
and
opinions.
obviously, yeah, yeah. I was in love with season two, and I'm not with season three. So I'm just gutted. I'm disappointed. And it hurts.
So that's what happens when you bat 100 and you bat 1,000 with season two.
Maybe.
And I mean, season two was, whew, that's still one. I still to this day go back and watch like people reacting to stuff from season
Yeah,
two on YouTube
I do too.
because
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
no, I mean, I still remember the finale of season two. I was in bed and ready to watch it the next day, and my phone started exploding on Twitter from folks who stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll go
Yeah.
watch it at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's
And
what I want for
lo and
Star Wars,
behold,
Mike. I want
yeah,
that cultural phenomenon where you're on the phone to someone when you're watching it and you're like, "Oh
yeah,
my god, did you see that?" Like it takes over pop culture. It's biggest thing on the internet. That's what I want. I want
yeah,
it to succeed like that. So when we get this, it's like,
I get it. I
oh
get it.
man. So anyway,
When you're used to a certain quality and you don't get it, it's like going to your favorite restaurant. Like man, like the last 4 or 5 times I've been here, the meal was perfect. This time, my burger was overcooked, or my steak wasn't cooked right, or something was, it sucks.
yeah.
But went to one of my favorite places recently, and I had a terrible time there. But and it was my favorite place in town. It's a British pub, like they do
Mm,
British food and all that. So I go there all the time. And the last time I went there, I was just like, oh, I did not have as good a time today as I usually do. It
mm.
bums you out. I'm like, I might wait a bit
It's a
before
good
I go back.
comparison, Mike. Honestly, it's really good comparison. Because what if the next three times it's not
Yeah,
you get the same feeling? If not,
yeah,
you don't like it as well.
yeah. If the next
Are
if
you
the
going
next
to
three
keep
four
going
times
back?
I go there,
I don't
yeah,
know.
if the next three
Yeah,
four times I go there, I have a bad time, then I'm like, okay, like once is a coincidence. Twice is
you're spending
ups
time,
is
spending money,
yeah.
you're bringing people there, you're
And so
recommending it. I'm
so
going
even if
through that
season
now.
three, yeah,
You're
I
me,
get it.
Mike.
I totally get it. If this
It's a good
this
analogy.
wasn't
Very good.
good
Yeah.
for you, thank you. If there's one thing I can do, it's I can make a good analogy involving food. That is one thing I'm very good at.
Very good.
So look, that's what we think of season three. It's what we think of the season three finale. Obviously, on different sides of it with this one. Ultimately, we both agree that this was not up to the quality we've gotten used to. I enjoyed it quite a bit, though. Boggs, obviously, not as much. And that seems to be kind of the definition of the entire internet, the entire culture's feel on this season. So obviously we want to know what you guys think. So please make sure you let us know down in the comments. What did you like? What didn't you like? Which side of the aisle are you on as far as this season goes? We'd love to hear from you guys. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We crossed 200. We got our Soul is currently on a plane at the time of recording this, flying out to see this guy, over there in England. So once Soul gets back and we're all settled, we already have it on the calendar. We'll announce something later as we go. Do a big live video to thank you guys and do something fun for crossing 200 subs. So thank you. Please continue to do so. And in the meantime, we will see you guys again next time here for another review, another reaction on Off the Wall.